Hello guys and welcome back to yet another new Minecraft tutorial. First of all, apologize I couldn't upload last week. That was because we had exams and finals and stuff. But they're all over right now, so I have all time to make new tutorials. And to satisfy Bauke, because he always wants me to do stuff even though he's doing everything. Well, first, today I will be showing you this farm, how to make these nice farm fields that you're looking at right now. I figured out some new nice ways to create these farm fields. I've got one on the back here as well. Looks pretty nice. So without further ado, let's get into this tutorial. So now we're at this field. First of all, you want to get rid of all the grass that you've got here. I'm using nuclear for that because it's a lot easier. This time I won't delete all the normal grass blocks, because that won't be very nice. Okay, so now that you got rid of all these blocks, you can go ahead, but because we're using flowers, sunflowers, it doesn't really matter. You don't need to use a hoe. When you use a hoe, and I'm not talking about a ho-ho, but I'm talking about a Minecraft hoe, well, they regenerate, so it takes more time to do, but in this case we're just using sunflowers and no need to do that. So I'm gonna use pots all for this, so later on I can put some dirt between. So once you've all just created all the pots, you can try to mix in some dirt to create some to add some variation. Couldn't find a word, but now I got it. So once you've just added some random spots of dirt like this, I think I had to add a little bit more though, just doing that. I think this is pretty much enough, and then you can start placing around the sunflowers. Oh, they're all facing this way. Well, that's just awesome. Make sure you don't place them on the grass. And you can also leave some open spots, because you can like fill in some other things over there to create some variation. For some reason I'm getting stuck in a word all the time, don't know why. Lol. So this is not enough yet, so you gotta create a little bit more. You'll have all these empty spots. Sunflowers are pretty tight, so you'll pretty much see it right away when there's a lot of them missing. With these you don't have that, you can miss out a few. So I think, whoa, what the fuck? So I think like this it looks pretty cool. So what I like to do now is to pick my bone meal. Oh wait, then that won't work. Let's just try some roll blocks. Okay, and place down some ferns and grasses, tall grasses, to kind of break up the pattern a little bit. Wait, can I? Oh, the hitbox is messed up, so that's why. Okay, they'll probably fix that in 1.8. Did I miss anything? I could do a few over here and over there, but well, that's pretty much all the gaps that I am able to find. So as you can see, I added some variation. So what I want to do now is to change the biome a little bit. In Survival you cannot do this unless you use like MC Edit, but it's just something that adds, it looks better, but without it looks cool too, so you don't need it, it's not necessary. But I like to do it a little bit because it kind of like it changes the green a little bit. So I'm gonna set the biome to plains. I'm now in a forest, so when I set it to plains it should change a little bit. You can't see it now, but I have to relog in a few seconds and then it will be able to be visible. That English right there. Okay, so I'm gonna relog right now. Yay. Yay. So now you can see that the colors changed a little bit. They became a little bit darker. So it kind of blends more with the sunflowers and less with the grass surrounding it. So now we're gonna make some fences. For this I'm gonna use pressure plates, fences and logs. So you're basically just gonna create some logs all around it. Don't make them higher than 2 blocks unless you're on a hill. In this case it doesn't look that nice, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna create a barrier around it on the right places. So here maybe I could do it a little different because it's in this weird gap. Well, I think it's not very necessary though. And over here you can see that you can either do this, but then you will have this very big side over here. So I don't like that. I will just keep it at this, and then we can like make something between. So I think I'm gonna keep it like this. Looks pretty cool. It's still pretty random as well, so that's how I like it. Now we're just gonna mess around with fences. You can also leave a few gaps between them if you have like, for example, over here you don't have to fill that in. I think it looks a little better when you keep those places. You can also add an extra fence somewhere to break up the pattern a little bit. This doesn't look nice, so I'm gonna keep this open. And this you can just fill this in, it doesn't really matter over here. And you add an extra fence up there. So over here with these, it doesn't really matter actually. You can just do this and add like an extra fence over here, and it will still look nice. Oh, I see it missed a little sunflower, so we can delete that. Then you do this. I think I'm gonna keep this one open as well. Just placing around the fences. Someone just joined the game. And over here, this is a pretty weird spot. I don't like this, so I'm gonna get rid of those blocks. And now it pretty much looks fine. Make sure you correct those. And to have a few grass blocks inside, it doesn't matter as well, as you can see over here. It's actually a mistake, but you don't need to, you can just keep those. And then we're gonna fill this in. I'm gonna add an extra block over here, extra fence, to break up the pattern a little bit. And that's pretty much it. And now for the last thing, you want to put some pressure plates on top of those. Because this plain side of a oak doesn't really look nice, so I like to add pressure plates on top to make them look more like bars instead of just well, logs. And well, that's pretty much how you make those. So now for these are a little harder because you have to use the hoe and the grains for those. But we'll get into those in a few seconds. So I figured out I'm gonna make it over here. so I figured out I'm gonna make it over here because I have this little hill over here and a riverside, so I can do that as well. So you can have like double bonus. So first of all, you want to of course pick up a hoe and seeds, and that's pretty much all you need. So what I'm gonna do now is just to create a nice spot with farmland. I'm gonna of course time this because this takes very long. Because okay, so when you start making those, they'll regenerate randomly. See, so you gotta place those right in because otherwise it'll regenerate. So I'm just gonna time lapse that, and I'll be right back. So as you can see, I've just created the land and put some of the wheat on top, the grains or wheat or whatever you want to call them. So now right now I'm gonna make a riverside over here. I'm just gonna make it until like over here. This also takes a lot of time, so I'm gonna skip building that. So now I've just made this small wall over here. As you can see, it's just randomized stairs and cobblestone stone materials. Nothing too special. So what I'm gonna do now is to bone meal all those fuckers, and this is again gonna take a fuck ton of time. So I'll even time lapse skip it something. So as you see now, I've just bone mealed all the grain or wheat or whatever you call it. So what I'm gonna do now is gonna mix some podzol in at random spots, just like I did with the dirt in the sunflower field. I'm gonna do this with podzol over here to create some like muddy spots, make it look a little better. Don't do them too much though, because that will look very weird. Okay, so what I want to do now is to add some of those, I can bone meal those right now. Wait, so I gotta again use grass, normal grass, and I like to bone meal some of those too, so they get a little taller. So now I like to bone meal some of those to make them look a little taller, to make them stand out. Don't do that too much though, because that will look weird. So I'm just gonna keep it like this. So now again I'm gonna do the biome trick. You don't have to do this in survival, but I just like it a little bit better. And as I know, a lot of people that watch me are also working on servers, so I'm just gonna give them this small tip. //set biome, and I'm gonna make this one a desert instead of a plains because it gets more yellow when I do that. Just do that at all of those spots. I remember I have one over here as well. Like that. So I'm gonna relog. And it should have worked. Yeah, I pretty much got all of them. I missed one, but that doesn't matter. You won't see that. So as you can see now, they changed color. They turned a little like yellowish, kind of brownish. It merges better with the terrain and the surroundings. So now I'm just pretty much gonna do the same barrier as I did on the other one. Nothing too special. Remember though that when you are going upwards, you sometimes have to add a little more to it. Well, in this case, actually, I'm just gonna make one exception by doing a little bigger one over here, because there's pretty much no way I can make it look good otherwise. This one is in my way. I don't have to have this one over here. Let's make that a podzol. Let's start on this side now. So now I'm gonna go underneath those trees. That's gonna be a little harder. Just gonna leave that tree as a pole. I'm gonna do the same over here. So let's just use the trees as poles in this case. So I'm gonna just create the fences. In this case, I think you could like add a little podzol over there, maybe some over here as well. Let's make that one a dirt. It'll probably regenerate, but well, yay. So let's add a little detail now. It's gonna be a So I'm going to leave this one open over here. I think it looks a little bit better when you leave some open at some points. So you got this little gap that I don't like. I'm going to delete this block over here. Make that one a podzol as well. Okay. So now we're gonna go downwards. Let's make this one a podzol as well. Make a little pull. Let's leave that one open. Let's add a little pull over there as well. Just do the same thing over here. Like that. So now we're gonna add the pressure plates on top. Like that. And now you're done with your grain field. So the last kind of field what I wanted to show is a field that is empty. Just because in the past, in the medieval times, they used something called the three field rotation system. When they had three different fields of the same kind of grain. In one of those they had winter grains that like grew in the winter, and one that grew in the summer, and one of those was always empty. So when the other two were growing, the one in the middle was basically getting like splattered with all kinds of bird shit on it, and it could ferment, and cows would like be on there to like graze and poop on the to well, it helped the plants grow on there when the summer arrived, so the farmer could plant new trees. So I'm gonna make one of those now. Those are pretty easy. For this you don't need any kinds of grain. You could use like one piece somewhere, but you're pretty much just gonna get bone meal, podzol, dirt, grass, and I'm gonna use gravel, stone, and cobblestone for these. So I'm gonna make one of those over here. First of all, just delete all the grass as you did with the other ones. Like that, okay. So remember, these have to be like the same size as the grain fields, so I'm gonna make it pretty big, because otherwise it would be unrealistic. I think this is a pretty good size. I'm gonna make it collide with this one over here to make it look better. Oh, that was a failure. Lol. Just place them back now, we couldn't do it. Okay. So for this, what you pretty much want to do is to randomize these 5 things that I have in my hand right now. You can do that by yourself. I'm gonna use World Edit for that because it's a little bit quicker for the tutorial. I'm gonna use a brush for that. So I think this looks pretty much alright. And what I'm gonna do now is to again set the biomes a little bit to plains this time, not to desert, to make it look a little bit more off. So as you can see, I kind of like edited a little bit so it has more like this yellowish you know, glow to it. You can't really see it too well, but it is there. For some reason some of those have despawned. I'm gonna add those back. So what I like to do now is to pick some cobblestone slabs and put them in at a few places, especially on those like hillside areas. Create like some like there are some like random stones lying around, pretty much like that. Don't add too much. And now I'm gonna get my bone meal. I'm gonna add some normal flowers, nothing too special. Don't add too much of those flowers though. Flowers don't really go well in those areas. You can also add dead bushes, by the way. Dead bushes go very well in these environments. Unfortunately, you can only place those on podzol blocks. But it doesn't really matter, still looks pretty nice. Don't know why it doesn't work though. Probably only podzol and how do you call those? I don't know. Another thing that you could do if you like to, these are very hard to get in survival. You have to find a mushroom island for those. Is to add mycelium. Where is it? It was somewhere in here. I knew. Here, there it is. Mycelium. This really looks like it has been like. Yeah, this. Oh wow! I never really thought of that before, but this actually looks pretty nice. I just randomly came up with it, by the way. No joke. This really does look very nice in these areas. I'm gonna add some more of those, not right now. I think that's pretty much enough for this field. I hope they don't despawn. Don't know if they do actually. I hope they don't. Well, anyways, I'm gonna add some more. Can you place grass on those? No, you can't place that grass on those, but I'm gonna place a little bit more grass around them, some ferns as well, and we'll pretty much just leave it like that. Let's bone meal like a 1 or 2 to make them look a little taller, like that. Okay. And now we are, let's make a barrier around it. This time I like to make another kind of barrier with stone, like I did over here. I'm gonna show you a little piece of the fence, and the rest is all gonna be edited out because they take a lot of time. These are not as easy as those, because you pretty much just randomization it all. It takes a lot of time, different blocks. May not seem like it, but it really does. So for items, you want to take cobblestone, stone, gravel, mossy cobblestone, stairs, and some slabs. And you could take some of these as well. Where there it is. I haven't seen any of the myceliums despawning yet. I hope it doesn't despawn. I really hope it doesn't. Okay, so to start off, I'm gonna start in this little corner over here. You start by kind of bordering off what you want to have as your border. So I'm gonna have this little wall over here. I'm just bordering it off. So this is the first part that I want to work on. So I'm pretty much gonna randomize the different kind of materials, because this is 1 block off. You have to add a little bit more to it. Be sure to use the mossy cobblestone good. You're gonna need those in these areas. It looks more realistic. You can also use a gravel block at some places. Let's place one over here like this. And a wall in there. And let's make some, whoa, not like that. But let's make one over here to kind of border that off from the, yeah, you know what I mean. Let's make it open a little bit over here. Wait, let's do it like this. Doesn't seem like anything is despawning yet, so I'm happy with that. And let's add a stone block over here. Let's try that. Looks pretty cool. How about we do this? This doesn't look too nice. Let's not do that. Let's just go around and place random, pretty much random blocks. At least all you gotta do is basically make sure they're stone kind of materials that look grayish, like they're stone materials, and that's pretty much it for that. Let's place like cobblestone there, and a thing like this. And I'm just gonna do the rest. I'm not gonna record that part because that takes too much time. So this is pretty much what I did. I deleted some of the fence that I did over here because it was too big. I realized that it would look better when you like delete a few parts, like it has collapsed at a few parts, for example. Looks a little bit nicer. But other than that, it's not. That's basically it. So of course, be sure to check out the other farm series that I have on my channel. I've got farmhouses, silos, and windmills over there. It will be in the description. It will help you out when building farms. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like, thumbs up, and subscribe. Also subscribe to all the people in the description that we support. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.